This is the Big Orange God, and Big Orange God is going to tell you what the latest prayers are that are coming into the Big Orange God's headquarters. Okay, well, they want to give you, put them all together and categorize them for us. Okay, mostly the ones that you need to know about are prayers mostly to do with what'd you get? Well, as audience participation, the big orange God here. What'd you get? What are people in the collective praying about right now? King Clancy, the devil, thinks people are praying about QAnon. Okay, I'm going to just see some other. I don't know. No one really wants to tell you, but primarily what people are wondering is that they're ever going to cancel mainstream television. Because even when I don't know my Facebook it was or something, it was YouTube was giving me mainstream news, and there was a button that said hide, and I hit it. I don't want to see it. It's all a pack of lies. But in my outside world, I'm still seeing people following the pack of lies, fake TV. And people in the police department here in Thunder Bay, Canada, are still following fake TV news as if it's real. Well, I don't want to tell you, but generally speaking, in Thunder Bay, Canada, I don't want to tell you, but if somebody's going to call you about the vaccine at a restaurant, I think the obscene police are going to show up and say, if we don't have the jobs and you don't got the passport, then you can't go sit down. Ergo, I'm just going to tell you in Thunder Bay, Canada, I don't want to tell you. I can't tell you anything, because Agent Orange here, he's just going to keep telling you, when are the people going to wake up to the fact that, the stupidest people are the people that continue to insist that the fake news TV is real? I mean, you even had President Donald Trump told you it's fake news. And yet, he was the president. He told you it's fake news. Why do you continue to go along with it? Because the TV tells you that this is this is the new governor of your state? The TV news announces it. The president told you it's fake news. When are you going to get the picture that, the governor is a fake governor? He told you. They're fake. Unfortunately, they got real police that continue to follow the regulations that are assigned by the people on TV who call themselves the real people. I don't know. How deep does the rabbit hole go? Seriously. I don't know. I mean, how are you ever going to get the real election results when, the computer doesn't tell you, it tells the guy on TV to tell you. You never get to see the real, no. What if you wanted to see I don't think so. If you wanted to see the ballots counted in the olden days, you could be a scrutineer. As long as a party sponsored you, but, pretty much. I never tried, but if you wanted to see but that's only your individual spot, one ballot box place. I mean, there's zillions of ballot boxes that need to be monitored citywide, countrywide. I'm sorry, the impossibility of you inspecting every ballot to ensure a fair election, it's impossible. So you're given to say, well, I'm going to have to trust people. Then why don't you just say, fuck it? Because 78% of the population of planet Earth will lie to you on purpose, just for funsies. Never mind, give them an incentive, like, they're going to run the government for you. 78% of people on planet Earth calibrate under 200. Around the year 2000 was when Dr. Hawkins did those muscle tests. Are they out of date? I don't want to tell you, but I don't think so. In other words, they're lying to you still. And when police officers don't use their own critical thinking, I mean, if you're going to be investigating a crime, we expect that you're going to have a mind like Columbo, the Hercule Poirot, Agatha Christie's, somebody like that, Thomas Magnum, I don't know, Hawaii Five-O. I mean, seriously, we expect that you're going to have a mind that is going to be interested in, exactly how deep does the corruption go? Because the national scandals never get investigated by local police. Local police always get the same story that comes from the media about, in the end, they're exonerated, always. The government criminals, the Airbus scandal of Brian Mulroney, Karl-Heinz Schreiber, On the Take, a book written by Stevie Cameron. I don't want to tell you, but then the Mulroney children are now in media. I don't want to tell you because it's just the truth. Well, I mean, there's certain laws that, I don't want to tell you. In the end, Epstein's Island means that you can rape, murder, and adrenochrome children. If you're of the elite group on planet Earth that makes the rules that go through the media that tell you who won the election. I don't want to tell you, but if you're an honest police officer, you're going to have to really put on your thinking cap and say, this is a big problem, isn't it? When the mafia is running the government and you are sworn to uphold law and order and to serve and protect the population. Well, this is a plot that happens in Star Trek. There was even a movie, I think it was called Insurrection. It's when you have rot at the top. Well, at a certain point in time, I don't know. I mean, really, at what point is a big city police officer like Inspector Luger from the New York Police Department? I'm Barney Miller. I mean, it's a fictional TV show, but seriously, New York is a real city, and they got a huge number of people, 25 million people. They have an enormous police office. And Inspector Luger, from that show was an inspector. That's, just below deputy chief. I mean, seriously, what would you call him? I don't know. I'd call him a very, very, very senior member of the New York Police Department. So, I mean, if you're going to be a police officer in a big city police department where, maybe the governor even lives in your New York, well, everything about your governor is your business, isn't it? And if, the President of the United States, Donald Trump, happens to own property in New York, then when he's in your town, then he's your business, isn't he? And given in New York, you have foreign dignitaries that, because in the United Nations building is right there in New York, so you've got international people. So if you're at the New York Police Department, you need to have branches around the world because you've got to be checking up on these so-called politicians that get a free ride into America. And they end up in New York, and whether they're good, bad, or indifferent, it's your job. I mean, because New York is your town. You're not going to rely upon some foreign agency like the CIA out of Washington. Homeland Security, fuck all that shit. It's like your town. It's New York. It's your place. And they have all these turf wars, but in the end, I don't know if you're Inspector Luger, you're an old school cop. An old school cop is simply going to look to see, okay, well, if I can't fight you by brute force and ignorance, I'm just going to go around you. Because I'm an old school cop and I might have to lean on some of my old informants. And I might have to call in some favors and I might have to go in, I don't know. I might have to bug the chief, electronically bug the chief because I think he might be dirty. Or the mayor comes in there and the mayor's dirty. Marion Barry was a dirty mayor of Washington, D.C. Well, he was only smoking crack. I mean, Rob Ford of Toronto did it too. But I don't know. It's just that when they make the penalty for crack, I don't know, 25 years in prison, it's like serious. And, if you're a politician, seriously, I don't want to tell you, but if there's two laws that, you're in charge of, the police department as mayor of the city, you have to sign off on the budget for the police department. And if, you're a crackhead, well, it means that you're involved with criminal people. And if they want to lean on you because you're the mayor of Toronto or, whatever it is, then the New York Police Department needs to understand the international flavor of local crime and vice versa. And if you think New York is big, well, I don't know. There's cities that are a lot bigger than New York. Maybe they're not as wealthy as New York, but the city of, for example, Tokyo. Well, I don't know. It's just that I don't see anybody looking Japanese. From anything to do with Japan. I think it's kind of strange, actually. I just do. I think, in my lifetime, I should have seen foreign agents from the country of Japan because it's a rich country and it's very technologically advanced. And I would expect that, once in a while we would hear that some member of, if it's not Osaka and not Tokyo, I mean, there's huge cities, and never mind, I don't know, well, we had Gorky Park. It was a novel, I don't know, decades ago, but it was about Moscow police back in the time of the Soviet Union. And the Moscow City police had to work around the politics of the Communist Party because in the end they still had Hannibal Lecters. They did in the Soviet Union, even though the bosses were a dictatorship. There was they were a dictatorship, but they were somewhat proud of it being a civilized dictatorship. The ability to fly into space, and I don't know, because it's just, in Gorky Park, I mean, you had to drive around in a third-rate Lada car. But, if there were murders and a serial murderer, well, you had to deal with, jurisdictional problems with political police and military police. And in the end, I mean, the city of Moscow wants you to go and investigate Jeffrey Dahmer and get him off the streets. Because in the end, even if somebody, I don't know, in the end, I don't think that the politicians like Vladimir Putin are ever interviewed, are they? Maybe they are. Are they interviewed about a mass murderer in Moscow? Anyway, if you're a police officer in Moscow, and, if the budgets have been increased, then maybe they do have foreign bureaus around the world. Where? But I don't see them. Well, I don't see them in Thunder Bay, but I did hear that there's Russian mafia, in Canada that are running, businesses, and, it's just that you end up having clashes of these, Russian mafia versus Chechen mafia. Versus, homegrown, there's various mafiosi that are modeled on various other famous mafia. Not really, not in Thunder Bay. Well, I don't know. I'm not involved. But anyways, I was just going to say that, if Inspector Luger of the New York Police Department is, given the task of doing the job that QAnon was supposed to do about, saving the world from criminal cabals that run Russia, for example, and China, for example, then good old American, Inspector Luger, he's just under deputy chief, and New York is a huge city, and,
I don't know. Anyways, maybe he's just got a few special agents that he's allowed to get. I don't know. Maybe he's got Levitt, Inspector Levitt. Well, that was many years ago, and maybe Levitt, he got promoted above Captain Miller because he did, and now he's known as Inspector Levitt. And there was Lieutenant Scanlon, and I don't know. He was internal affairs. And anyway, did he get promoted? I don't know. All I know is Levitt is now an inspector, and I don't know what happened to. I don't know. I'm just going to tell you that Inspector Luger expects to save planet Earth by Christmas 2021, which is only a couple of weeks away. How are we going to know that Inspector Luger has saved us by Christmas? I guess we'll have to wait till, Boxing Day in Canada is the 26th. And we'll have to know by then whether the world is saved, won't we? Or we won't know until 60 years later when it's all disclosed after it was secretly put away for 60 more years about what exactly is the treaties with the extraterrestrials that Eisenhower signed in the 1950s. And are there really tall grays that are really extraterrestrials? Or are they just humans that are tall that put on costumes in order to pretend to be extraterrestrials? It's just that pretty much when you look at, I don't know, the human anatomy is pretty much, something that you would say is pretty much geometrical in nature, and, pretty much it could be multiplied throughout the universe as a standard morphogenic field of a bipedal humanoid that just looks like all of us. And they might be from some other star system. It's just like, it's a very useful, morphogenic, like 5 fingers is useful. More than that, it's too many fingers. And less than that, like 3 fingers of a reptilian. It's more like, I don't know, 3 fingers? It's just not as many buttons that you can press. 5 fingers is pretty good, and 2 eyes gives you binocular earring and hearing. Everybody always thinks there should be sexual enhancements. I mean, the Ferengi get enormous ears that you can play with. But a good old foot massage, according to Pulp Fiction movie, is very sexual. I don't want to tell you in the end. It's just that people are always got penis envy. And it's never perfect. Even when it's perfect, it's never perfect. Nothing is ever perfect. I mean, your boobs are never perfect. I don't know. They're perfect boobs in the moment. It's just, the next day when they really want to get rid of you because they have no emotional connection to you. I don't know, in the moment when you were drinking a lot of whiskey, they just seem so sexy, but now they seem disgusting. And generally speaking, you didn't notice that they were missing their teeth yesterday. But, anyway, I gotta go.